Cupid is a visual novel that contains some themes that can be greatly upsetting to some viewers. A couple of these themes are sexual assault, murder, abuse, suicide. If you are deeply affected by such themes, please proceed with caution. Hi guys, Pixel Coco here, and I am being joined by a guest today. I'm being joined by Devil's Advocado from EvilGuacamoleGaming. Do you want to say anything about yourself?
Not too much. Hopefully you guys will check out my channel, and I'll be sending a few this way if possible.
Yeah, I'll be putting it down in the description. We met by chance on Tumblr, and he reblogged one of my videos, which was really nice, and we've been having fun getting to know each other.
Yeah, it's been great. I'm hoping to get involved with a lot more people. That I feel like the people that post their Let's Plays on Tumblr are my people. The people I want to kind of work with, and so far I have been pleased with the results, especially here with Coco.
Aw, thank you. We're going to be playing a visual novel that I first heard of via another Let's Player, and I decided to give it a shot. I played a tiny bit of it and watched a tiny bit of it just to get a sort of general idea, but I have not gotten far at all. So this will be an experience for the both of us. I love you. I love you. I love you. I should have done this before, but this game is a little weird. There might be parts that I will need to censor. I've not gotten very far in it, but it is kind of dark, I will say. I can't give too much detail into in what ways, but I think it could become evident pretty quickly. There's no need to explain. It's only natural. A mother loves her daughter more than anything else in the world. He hates you, doesn't he? The whole lot of them despise you, don't they? Chasing you into the forest and gouging a hole in your leg. All because you smiled at their husbands. And you know what? You deserve it. You freak. You disgusting, horrible, filthy little girl. Didn't I tell you to stay away from them? You never listen. Serves you right for being the little slut you are. But you don't have to worry, my darling. It's alright. Even if the whole world wishes you dead, I promise you this. Your mother will always be by your side.
Well.
Yep. A very loving mother.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, my my immediate amateur feminist triggers are like woman, why you be slut shaming?
And to your own daughter, for goodness sake.
Yeah, seems the rule of thumb is a slut is a person that is having sex that you can't. So for one reason or another, you're not having it. So that's the word for that person.
Yeah.
Give or take. That's why I rule of thumb. But let's
Let's go for it. Do you want to take for the priest?
Yes. My goodness, child. Whatever has happened to you?
A girl was slumped in the doorway, soaked by the rain. Her legs were covered in dirt and blood. She lifted her head upon hearing the priest's voice and stared at him with blank eyes. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. She hobbled forwards, her bloodied leg giving way. Automatically, the priest rushed forward to steady her. Years of spiritual training had prepared him for the most unexpected guests to his church. He sprung into action. He ushered her to a pew, brought out some clean cloth and antiseptic, and began to bandage the wound on her leg. Yet throughout all this, he found that he couldn't take his eyes off her. He would be gazing at the roll of bandages in his hand, deciding how to tie them, and then out of nowhere he would be staring into her eyes. Even with all the mud and grime smeared across her face, he couldn't deny that she was absolutely beautiful. How old was she? 20, 18, 16? That's quite a long range there. Her face was so young. The priest had long since aged past his desire for the opposite sex, but somehow something about her enraptured him. When he realized his own thoughts, he quickly steered his mind towards other matters.
Not to be that person, but you know, is it implied that he hasn't aged out of attraction to the same sex?
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, should I make that joke?
Yeah. This makes me wonder what time is this supposed to take place? I
Oh
mean,
gosh, it's pretty. I'd say maybe Victorian-ish.
that could
Though
be.
I mean, I don't know French history all that well, so it wouldn't
I,
be quite that, but somewhere around there.
all my art history classes are going through my head, seeing all the flying buttresses and the church design. I'm like, I remember we spent like a week on this in art history, and nearly none of it is retained because it is pretty much the most boring section of art history. Um, Even though they look beautiful and everything. Oh wait, no, I do remember a bit. There's supposed to be a direction that the churches they actually from above are shaped like a cross, which you can see here. Um, you can see that it goes left and right.
Yeah.
So behind would be where the altar is, I believe, or in front. Could be either way. And all this would make it a fairly small church.
Yeah.
Um,
That's pretty cool. Like I didn't notice right at this that it is sort of shaped like a cross.
yeah. Um, like even the grand cathedrals like Notre Dame in France, like it's kind of stubby, and they've actually built on different things beyond the cross shape, but ultimately it is shape like a cross, and the top
In
of
the
it
core.
is where the big stained glass that you probably have seen if you've seen any pictures of Notre Dame
Mm-hmm.
is that's the top of the cross, and then you can almost kind of envision it maybe. Um, anyway, so yeah, all of this art history stuff is going through my head from oh gosh, uh, I was in college, brick and mortar college, a decade ago. Um, when I was learning this. Um, anyway, my child, what happened to you?
She seemed to take all the time in the world before responding. He looked at me.
Looked?
He looked at me and touched me. And then he started to kiss me. At first, the priest didn't understand. Then he realized with a jolt of anger what she meant. It was happening more and more often nowadays. The young men of France these days were spirited, uncontrolled ruffians. That's a pretty tame word to call someone who did that. A lady walking home by herself one night would be a prey to a few number of them. Lust. One of the 7 deadly sins, the one that the priest personally despised the most. Furrowing his brow in sorrow, the priest laid a hand on her thigh.
You are safe now, child. God's house is a sanctuary for the faithful.
I don't think he'll protect me. He looked at her in confusion. You see, Father, I have sinned again. Right there among the pews before the altar of God, she bowed her head. I'm sorry. Was she apologizing to him or to someone else? Her hair hid her face and her eyes, and the priest could make neither head nor tail of her. He suddenly realized that his hand was still on her thigh, and he hurriedly drew it away. I'm sorry. She repeated this phrase over and over. After a while, the priest got up.
Don't fret, child. You're not to blame. I will contact the local constable, but in the meantime, you are free to make yourself at home here. I will fetch you a hot drink.
He patted her hand and left to go to the back room. She remained seated on the pew, her head bent forward. As the priest's footsteps faded away, the entire church fell into silence. Now that it was the dead of night, the clouds covered the sky. Barely a silver sliver of moonlight filtered through the stained glass. The girl sat alone in a ring of darkness. She opened her mouth. No, I know. If I may say my piece, surely. Yes, yes, mother. But he is so very kind. And we have our first choice. Would you like to make this, since I made it on my last when I tested the game out?
Sure. It's whose perspective is this response?
I believe this is from the mother.
Uh. Uh. Well, the most reasonable response is I fear for your safety. So let's just go with there for now.
Okie doke. Child, follow mother's words and leave. You saw the look in his eyes, didn't you? You cannot stay here. Even a man of God can stain you with the filthiest colors. Be a good girl and follow mother's words. But it is cold outside, mother. The rain has not let up. Can't I stay?
Let's go with all right. I mean, I was concerned for her safety, hoping that that would imply that she was gonna stay
Stay.
here instead of among the ruffian
Ruffians.
rapists.
I suppose you can. But you must be wary of everyone in this church, do you understand? You are so weak, my darling. You give my heart so much pain. Maybe you should do the mother, since there's a lot of dialogue between these two.
Sure. Yeah, I can do
Alright.
that.
I'm sorry, mother. I will try my best to stay out of trouble.
How am I going to mind you like this? You attract so much misfortune everywhere you go. Screw it. Let's go meet her. This is all your fault. Why must you be like this? You are a blight to my heart.
You're late to us. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. The girl sat in silence. Mother was right after all. She was always right. Everything was her fault. Her fist shook with a mixture of fear and conviction. She had to do penance. Mother, give me strength. There is something I wish to do. The girl rose from the pew. In front of her was the altar, and on top of the altar was an ornately decorated cross. It was as wide as her head, and the tip of the cross had been crafted such that it was razor sharp. She left the pew, knelt briefly, and then walked over to the altar.
Don't tell me. You're quite sure you're doing this?
The girl's arm trembled ever so slightly. What other way is there for me to atone? She picked up the cross.
Can I mention at the moment, why is this cross razor sharp?
That is a good question. I don't know.
Okay. That's just a side note. Oh, my darling daughter. Mother is proud of you.
I get Mother Gothel times to 100 vibes from this woman.
It's just...
Slowly, she brought the sharp end close to her face, so close that it hovered just above her left eye. And then she... And that is our prologue.
Splurge. It didn't have a sound effect. I don't know if I'm...
Yeah, it did have a sound effect.
Ah, okay. I'm not getting the sound on this end, which is fine. I had to make my own sound effects, though. So.
It was a very good one. But that's a good place to end this first episode. It was very fun. Thank you, Advo.
And slightly educational.
And slightly educational. Maybe we can... Oh no, there's the French that we're going to be screwing up.
Ciao ciao! Du so miel!
Beautiful. Before we get too far, everybody should introduce themselves to Avery. I'm not going to keep any of these voices up. Avery, we've already met, and you already know Graves. Did you meet Hayes yesterday? Briefly, hello Hayes. Hello. He looks like he's going to try and slip between the cracks of the tile. How does a guy like this handle a job that deals with people? Hayes is a great barista. He's a great help in the kitchen, but he likes to spend a lot of his time with the cats too. Hayes flashes me quickly, the side of his mouth upwards ever so slightly, like he's trying to smile, without inflection. I reach out to shake his hand. He's practically bracing for impact. Before I reach him, a bright flash, bright light flashes at the corner of my vision. Is that a camera? Oh, sorry, sweetie. I thought I turned the flash off. I whip my head to the other side of the aisle. The girl on the end is looking directly at me. Sorry, don't mind. I just wanted to commemorate our new employee. I'm Finley, and I take care of social media.